performer, you know, I know how stuff works. Well,
Yeah.
there we go. Okay.
All right.
Were my questions answered completely enough for you?
Yeah, they were. They were really well answered. Can you just try to stay in the middle of the frame? I mean, you basically are, but.
Okay.
And then, can you tilt your camera a bit down, just a little bit?
So it doesn't look like.
Fine, we're restarting.
How's that?
Do you need my charger by any chance?
No.
You're good about it? Okay.
Alrighty. There.
No?
Yeah. Or you could put it on your table again, so you don't have to hold it for a while. That's fine, yeah.
I know. Let me get a lower seat.
Alright. Oh no, that seat's fine.
That seat's fine? Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just. Same?
Yeah.
No? Yeah.
Can you like balance it on something so that your torso is more in the frame?
Oh.
Or is it?
You need more of this.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's perfect. Okay.
Okay.
So I guess we'll start. I don't know, I'm using like the built-in recorder on Skype, so I don't know if there's like a limit. So like, if there is, it'll probably stop on its own. But I'm sure it doesn't. But like, if there is, just like keep your thought. If I tell you, like it stopped. Okay.
All right. No, not a problem.
All right.
Do you have enough light here? Do I need more light?
Yeah, it's perfect.
Okay. All right.
All right. Whew. Okay, let's start again. So, oh yeah, I have to introduce. Okay. Hey, Uncle Walt.
Hello, Janelle.
Thanks for joining me today and talking for my oral history presentation.
Oh, glad to do it.
So how old are you now?
73.
And how old were you, and when did you serve in the Vietnam War?
Okay, I was approximately 20 years old, and I started in the Vietnam War from 1966 when I joined the Air Force, and then I got out of the Air Force in 1970.
So yeah. So what were you doing in your life before the war? Like, were you in school because you're around 20?
Yes, I was. I was going to school. I was taking some engineering classes. I was working at Safeway Market, and I was married at that time too.
Oh wow.
Which was kind of crazy because they said they weren't going to take married people, but they gave me I got a draft notice, so.
Oh wow.
Not the only one.
Yeah. So you got the letter. That's how you were drafted. But what was the process of you joining like the Air Force?
Oh, okay. I got my letter that said, "Greetings from Uncle Sam," that inducted me into the U.S. Army. Well, just before that, I'd gotten a letter from the U.S. Marine Corps, and they were saying because of my high school grades that they wanted to have me come join the Air Corps for the Marines. And I'm thinking, hey, that doesn't sound too bad. So I went down to join. My dad took me down, right? And so right next door was an Air Force office, and they were supposed to have been full. Everyone said you couldn't get in the Air Force no matter what. So I walked in there, and I said, what the heck? I'll give it a shot. So I walked in, and I saw the recruiter there, and I told him, I asked him, I said, you got any room for one more? And so he says, I sure do. Do you want to leave today? And I said, no, give me some more time. So he gave me 30 days, and then I went to downtown Los Angeles, where I went through my physical. They said, okay, and then I then jumped on a plane, and we flew to Lackland Air Force Base, Texas, for my basic training.
What'd you do on your 30 days before you were flown off?
Oh, I just goofed around, and I worried about what it was going to be like, because I really had no idea. Because, usually you find out that kind of stuff from somebody that's close or an older relative or something like that. And I had one older brother, and though he tried to get in, he couldn't get in. He had flat feet. At that time, if you had flat feet, you couldn't go. Now they take you, they don't care. But at that time, they wouldn't let you in. So it was kind of, I'm feeling this all out for myself as I go along. I mean, I felt safe and I felt secure, but it was at 30 days up, I was I was a little nervous because I just didn't know what was going to happen.
So what was your position and what did you do?
In the U.S. Air Force, I was
yeah.
a weapons mechanic. I worked on jet aircraft. I loaded bombs, rockets, missiles, napalm, bullets, whatever, that they needed for ordnance is what I loaded. And so,
And a sexy woman.
Dolly, she's taking an interview. Are we okay?
Yeah.
So anyway, that was my job, and I was grateful for it because when I went in, I was thinking about get myself another trade. So I asked for cook, asked for heavy equipment operator, all these things that when I got out, I could use them when I came out. But they ended up sending me over to weapons school anyway, and I knew there was no place I could use this stuff when I got out. So I was a little on the unhappy side.
Yeah. So you basically had to put like your education, like you were in college, so you had to put that on hold while you were gone.
Yeah, I did. I wasn't so in love with being an engineer. It was something that I thought that I wanted to do, and so it's probably a good thing that I went off into a little bit different direction. Because I don't know how much time you got. The only reason I ran into engineering was because I went to the unemployment office. I told a lady I was thinking about being. She said you can't do that. She told me, she said, no, there's no way you can be an engineer. And I got mad and I said, well, I'll show her. but so that's what it was about. It was because I was mad, not because it was something I had a burning desire to do.
Yeah. So where were you mainly located?
I was located all over the place. I started off in Lackland Air Force Base, Texas, and that's down in San Antonio, Texas. I then went to Las Vegas, Nevada. That's Nellis Air Force Base there. That's a training base. And I left from there and went to Vietnam. Now, that was quite a jump there. I was in Vietnam for a year at Da Nang Air Force Base in Vietnam. And then I left there and went to Davis-Monthan Air Force Base in Tucson, Arizona. That's the boneyard for airplanes.
So, how would you say like your experiences and just like being in Vietnam in general is like different from being here in America?
Vietnam was a lot different because, again, when you're working and you're under a lot of stress and strain, the stress was because there was a lot of planes to load. We really had to go ahead and go fast and get the stuff done, but we had to be safe. Nobody wants a bomb going on, right? So we were really rushing to get our job done. And temperatures out there, 110, 115 degrees, during the summer. And but you're working and you're depending on other people side by side. And it really taught me to get to know other people a lot better than before. People I thought I could never get along with, I was then able to go ahead and get along with them. Boy, come here. Let me do this.
Yeah, it froze.
Right. Yeah, I know. Let me fix that.
All right.
Boy. Oh, go remind me later in an hour. There we go. Okay. There we go. My call. Right. I got a phone call, and I wasn't supposed to. Did we mess you all up, or are you okay?
No, it's fine.
Okay. So, like I said, I met people that I never thought I'd get along with, and now I'm living with them. And that changed. That has something that has changed my life all the way through. And one of the, again, I may be getting a little bit off subject here, but I think it might be important. It's like I was drafted in.
Yeah.
Military, which I didn't think at that point I knew I didn't like. I had my life going. Let the single guys go do it. Let somebody else go do it. But I got drafted, and so I went. And so the things that I learned and the people that I met, and along with the other guys, because people from all over the U.S. were going through the same thing that I was going through with that draft, and we don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
If you're born in Tupelo, Mississippi, you may never meet someone from New Jersey or California or wherever. All you know about them is what you hear on the news, and that isn't good. And I think that our country would be much better off if we still had the draft. Anyway, that's my advertisement for that.
So at the time, there was like a lot of like, I guess, disagreements on the draft and the Vietnam War.
Oh, there really was.
What was your take on it? What was your opinion?
My opinion was that, I believed in my government, trust my government. They said we need to be there, we need to do that. Then hey, that's what we needed to do, and there wasn't any questions asked. And so you heard about a bunch of hippie people saying you shouldn't do that, and I'm thinking, well, they're going against the country, and then you had a lot of them that were taken off to Canada, and they're claiming, this exemption and the other, for why they would not come and fight, basically, or put their life on the line. And I'm saying they should have been there with us. They should have been there with us. I felt like they were turning their back on the U.S. is what I felt like they were doing. So.
So how would you? Wait, sorry. Was there any point in time in the Air Force that you ever feared for your life or felt like you were in danger?
Oh yeah, quite a few. In that, on the base, we weren't out where they were shooting at us, except during that Tet offensive when we had snipers off the base that were shooting on. They could see us walk around and they were shooting in. But other than that, probably once every couple of weeks or so, and sometimes more often, we get rocket attacks. They'd be up in the hills, the Viet Cong would be in the hills, and they would shoot off these rockets that would go up and they'd end up landing. Now, for a while there, they would only land where the airplanes were.
Yeah.
And then after a while, especially during the Tet offensive, they started landing over where our bunks were. And so one night in particular during the Tet offensive, usually we had, I don't want to go into too much detail because I don't know how much time you got.
Yeah,
but,
you could go into detail.
Okay, like you figure the base is all dark at night, right?
Yeah.
Because off the bases, we're surrounded by jungle. We have planes that fly around that drop flares. And the reason they're dropping their flares is because they're looking for Viet Cong at night, coming and trying to get to the base. And there were some out there. And what would happen, they had these guns up in there and they would shoot, and it looked almost like a steady stream of red when they'd shoot. But it was actually every seventh bullet, but they were shooting them out so fast, it looked like a steady stream. And you see them, you hear the gun going, wah, wah, when they shoot, and they go all around the base. All of a sudden, they came up to this Tet offensive. They're dropping the flares, and they're not one shot did they fire all night long. Which, because you're so used to them shooting, when they don't shoot, it makes you really nervous. And so we went ahead and we loaded the planes up, and all of a sudden we heard the rocket. Poop, poop, poop. You can hear them because it comes out the tube. And they were coming there to the base. You hear them off in the distance going whack, whack. They don't go boom. It's like a whack noise that you hear. And so we went ahead and behind where we had the planes parked was a big ditch. So we didn't want to stay where the planes were because we know for sure they're aiming at the planes. So we jumped in this ditch and ran into this little tunnel in there. And suddenly all of a sudden we realized that we're in where all the waste fuel went. So we're in a ditch full of jet fuel. So we had to get out of there. And we ran some more, ran back over the barracks, and then we found out a couple of our guys were going to shoot us because we're running around in the dark. And at the same time, they had said that there was Viet Cong on the base. They didn't know us from them. And then that happened that night. That was the most scariest one. There was also nights when they shot it for the barracks and we were asleep, and you had to get up and run out of the barracks and try to get into a bunker. It's really, really nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
When I first came back to the States, my mom came to pick me up from the airport, and I remember I heard some kind of loud noise, and I hit the floor automatically, not thinking nothing. I'm down on the floor, and my mom just looked at me and said, "What's wrong?" But because I'm back in the States now, but you get conditioned when it happens so often. You get conditioned, you automatic. But aside from that, it was some great times over there. Great times.
Yeah. How would you describe like everyday life, like while serving?
Say it again.
How would you describe your everyday life while serving?
Oh, well, so everyday life, because we stayed so busy. Well, what happened over there? They used to work as 8-hour shifts, like normal. And you're away from home. That leaves you with another 16 hours of thinking about home or whatever. And one of the guys got a Dear John letter from his girlfriend. You know what a Dear John letter is?
Yeah.
Okay, he got one of those, and he started shooting up the place. He was just angry. So they took all the guns away from us Air Force guys and decided they need to do something. So he put us on 12 on, 12 off, 7 days a week. So while I didn't like it at the time, it did make the time go by faster.
Yeah.
You get in there, you'd be so darn tired that when you hit the bunk, the only thing that could wake you up was in the barracks. There were some women that came in, they would clean the barracks for us. Okay, you hear about all the bad things there, but these were nice people, and they would hit they clean the barracks for. But they smoked some kind of cigarette over there, and I'm telling you, you come in after 12 hours doing this, and you're dead tired, and when they walk past you, it'd wake you right up. Boom. You couldn't go back to sleep. I have no idea what they were smoking. I didn't want to know. but they did that, and they ate some kind of nut that turned their teeth black.
Yeah. So you like talked about like the letter. So how was like communicating with people from home and stuff?
Oh, that was great. Because that would be your spark for the day.
Yeah.
To go ahead, whether the little care packages they call them, where you get cookies and letters and pictures and all that kind of stuff. In those days, then we had some tape recorders, and what you could do, you could put some stuff on the tape and then send that, and then it could send the tape, and you could hear somebody's voice, and so it was yeah. I mean, the letters meant a lot. They really did. They kind of kept you sane over there.
So being an African American in like the force, how would you describe like your experience and like if it was any different from others?
For me, no, I didn't. For me, if there was some, I didn't see it. There may have been some, and I suppose if I'd looked for it, then I would have saw it. But I didn't see it. I moved on through. I got my promotions. I moved from base to base without any problem one way or the other. And so, but I did hear from other guys that were in there that did. Like I say, sometimes if you don't look for it, you don't see it. And so, and over there, then because everybody was fighting, it's kind of like they said, everybody in a foxhole, when the bullets are going off, everybody believes in God then. Okay, there are no atheists then, right? It's kind of like when you're over there with bullets flying and rockets coming in, everybody that's from America you see is your friend automatically. So you got to go ahead. You got to depend on people. You have to. So that it changes. So.
How'd you say life was towards your service, like towards the end of it?
Toward the end of the service, it was pretty good because I made pretty good rank. I made E5. I was a staff sergeant, which is not bad pay when you're there, And then I guess my biggest thing was I was looking forward to getting out because here's something when I was in Vietnam, when I got ready to leave, they needed people that were in my field. So back in those days, they offered me $10,000 to stay and sign up for another tour, and said if at the end of the tour I could go anywhere I wanted to, guaranteed. And so I said, well, what's the job? It's what they call a rotary wing mechanic for the helicopters. You're a mechanic for the helicopter.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when the helicopter's not broken, you're the door gunner. And I'm saying, oh no, not me. so needless to say, I came on back to the States, and then when my time rolled around, then I got out.
So when you got back, what was life like after you finished serving?
Life had changed a lot because I had changed a lot, I guess. So my approach to people was much different. Um, I had, shoot, I think it wasn't even a year, and I was divorced because my attitudes had changed so much, and and I don't know whether it's PTSD. I don't know what it is, but I know as far as I was very, I wasn't as willing to bend as much then, you know. So it took me a while to go ahead and get back into feeling the way that you should be here in the States, you know, to have the trust and like that. So, because I know it wasn't even a year, and we said goodbye to each other. So.
How were you received when you like by other people when you returned from war? Like people that you knew before?
Oh, the people at work, because like I said, I went right back to work at Safeway,
Yeah.
and so I didn't. They moved me to a different store, but the people there were just, you know, hey, glad you made it back, and da 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 da, and then that was it. You know, I, I didn't run into all that some of my friends did, because I've since talked with some of my friends about how people went in and they were spat on and all these kind of things happened. For me, it didn't happen. Even, you know, going through bus stations, going through airports, I'd see the guys there, and I see the guys with the little flowers trying to sell you flowers and all this kind of stuff. But I never had anyone approach me or say anything, you know, out of the way to me. So.
So how did being in war change your life? Was there any like monumental like experience or like moment that you can recall that like I don't know, just like changed you forever, I guess?
Uh, I think just being there. Um, when you when you think day after day that you could be killed or shot, something like it changes you inside, where you go ahead there and the things that you worry about. Um, man, uh, it's yeah. My personality changed quite a bit, and I got to be where I wanted to be more of a loner when I came back, and so yeah, that's kind of. I wish I could give you more details, but
Yeah.
um, a lot of stuff I haven't thought about, you know,
Yeah.
since then. And I look back now and I think about what I was doing before and afterwards. Yeah, so war is not a good thing, not a good thing at all.
Is there anyone that like you met like that you still keep in contact with or that you met that has like a really like important impact on you during then or
Uh,
now?
yeah, there's a friend of mine, and actually we started off in basic training together, and we went all the way out through Vietnam. When we left, we both left at the same time, but he went on to become an aircraft refueler. You know how they refuel the airplanes, that big thing that sticks out the back?
Yeah.
Okay, well, there's a guy back there that controls that, and that's inside of the plane with the fuel, and that's what he did. And then I went on back home, and then kept doing what I was doing, and then got out. And he was down in Texas. He and I got, again, here I was when I joined the service. You know, if you had a Southern accent, man, I didn't want any parts of you. I just wanted to stay away from you. I didn't trust you. I didn't know you. And everything I ever heard about people from there was bad. So I had to go learn for myself. And here I was. My best friend turned out to be from Texas. And he got an accent. I mean, the moment he opens his mouth, you know, this guy's from out of the South. So we, he and I became really tight. We went through basic, and then we went through training, and then we went to Vietnam together. And so hanging with him again went ahead and changed a lot of my mind about a lot of things. You know, we could sit down, we could talk. You know.
Um, do you recall like the hardest moment you ever experienced during war, mentally or like physically or emotionally?
There was a couple of them that really stand out. One was when I first landed in Vietnam. You know, we're on a commercial. I can't remember what the name of it. American Airline, one of them, went ahead and brought us over there. we're in this big old plane and we're landing on the runway there at Da Nang. And on the other runway, as we're taxiing in, slowing down, on the other runway is an F-4 going the opposite direction with a Marine standing on each wing with a machine gun. So you got to assume these guys aren't on that wing for no reason. And
Yeah.
here we are, just cruising down through there. Now, that I'm looking at it, and I start to think about my options. I'm saying, I got no options. Some of this out for this year. That's all I can do.
Yeah.
And then that night of the Tet Offensive was because we were, like I said, we ran from the planes. We ran into a nearby bunker, but a lot of guys knew it, and the bunker got over full. There was too many guys. You hear guys outside screaming, "Let me in! Let me in!" And then we had a guy on the radio from one of the air policemen saying, "Keep your heads down, incoming, incoming." And it seemed like it just went on forever. He kept saying incoming. And so finally he says, "Okay, if you can find a better spot, run for it now. There's a lull." And things like that goes ahead and really, yeah, they just stick with you.
Yeah. Sorry.
No problem.
Do you have any questions? Is there anything you learned while you're serving or like training that you still use like in your life after, even now?
Oh yeah. Getting along with people and trusting people, a lot easier. My philosophy now is like, let someone prove that they're somebody you shouldn't be around, rather than assuming them just because they got a frown on their face or because they're doing this or they're doing that. You know, most people want to be nice. They want to get along and live a good life.
Yeah.
That, and then the training that I got in there, like I said, when I first got out, I went through, I was back at Safeway. I then went ahead and changed my occupation because I decided I wanted to go ahead and be an automotive mechanic, because that's what I really enjoyed doing. So then I went ahead and let me set that up. Yeah, I went ahead and I became an automotive mechanic, but it's like I was miles ahead of the other guys that were there because of that electronics I learned while I was in the military. And that has served me even to today. Checking out a circuit to find out what's going on, or whether it be the house or the car or whatever it is I'm working on. And so I've been able to work on buses and trains and cars and planes, all because of that training that I had there. And so I've never had to worry about a job because, again, from the training I got from there.
Yeah, so you're glad that you did, you got into like the Air Force other than like the Marines?
Yeah, because in the Marines, I had been doing basically, from what I can tell, they were offering me the same job. So I probably would still end up at Da Nang doing the same job. But with those guys, they call Marines grunts, right?
Yeah.
And because they tough things out. Well, on the Air Force side, we had these nice machines that would pick up these 250-pound bombs and put them up on a plane.
Yeah.
Over in the Marines, they had a stick they stuck in both ends of the bomb. They have two guys on each end and they pick it up. That's grunting it up. I said, so I have, for that, it's like the Marines, you know, I like their uniforms. I like the way what they stand for, this type of stuff like this. And had I not joined the Air Force, and that's where I would have wanted to go. But to me, the Air Force helped me out the most for there and for when I got out of the service.
Yeah. So probably for the last question, what was the most valuable lesson you learned during your service?
Looking back over my life,
Yeah.
Getting along and trusting people. That was really it. Because like I said, that's been invaluable to me. Because I mean, just whether it's my neighbors next door or even because I've held management positions, you know, since, and it really pays off there. because otherwise you have a tendency. You see a lot of guys they'll go ahead and somebody does something wrong and they want to fire them or boot them out or get a bad attitude about them all. And I'm saying people make mistakes, and so if they're really that bad, they're going to do something bad again. So there's no need to go ahead and have patience with people. If you have patience with people, they have patience with you, and things will come out okay.
Yeah. Do you have anything that like from the war, like your ring? I've seen it before.
No, I don't have it with me.
Okay.
I have some pictures and things like that.
Yeah.
And right now, where I live at now is a retirement place, and so there's lots and lots of military people. And the other day, I had on something about being a veteran. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
And some lady walked up to me. I'm in a restaurant. I never seen this lady before. She said, "Were you a vet?" I said, "Yes." And she hugged me. I mean, she's a little bit over, maybe she was like 4'9", and here I am up here.
Yeah.
Pretty much wrapped her arms around my legs. She was hugging me. But, it really makes it seem worthwhile, after in the younger days, it's like, well, everybody's doing it, so it's no big deal, it's just what you were doing. But now when I go to different places and they recognize you for the service that you did, then it really makes me feel good. So I have some, Dolly and I were going through some pictures. I'll go ahead and I'll get those.
All right.
And I'll text them to you or whatever.
All right. I think that's it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's it? I'm
Yeah.
done?
Yeah, you're done. You're free to go.
Wait, didn't you say something about $25? No. All right, Janelle.
Thank you.
I'll talk with you later, okay?
All right, bye, Uncle Walt.
Bye-bye. You
Love
take
you.
care. Love you. You take care. Okay. Tell your friends I said bye.
All right. Bye.